Hello everyone, and welcome to the first game of the Jake and Travis Invitational, the JTI as it's called. We have two players that are known for their skill, their fortitude, and their ability to really take this game to the next level. We got Jake playing as the white Protoss. Everyone knows Jake. He's the crowd favorite. He's the one that's supposed to win the entire tournament. But in the bottom right corner, who do we have playing in teal? We have none other than Ben Terry. And let me put up the frames here. Oh, let me hide this. All right, there we go. What is this? Alt F. Alt F, everyone. Alt F. Okay, so we're back. So we got in teal the person, in my opinion, that could take down Jake. One of the strongest competitors in the JTI. Now, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of great competitors out here, but this person individually is the strongest person that could take down Jake. Jake gets a perfect scout here, everyone. Look what he's doing. He's coming in here with the probe. Now, the probe has immediately scouted Ben. He's going to see what he's doing. Now, Jake doesn't know how Ben plays. It's been about 10 to 14 years before he's even seen what Ben has to offer. So when Jake and Ben used to play, Ben wasn't that good. He played fastest map possible. So Jake has no idea the skill level of Ben, which is Ben's greatest asset. So right now, Jake is building a gateway, which is pretty standard. He might put out some really, really good zealot pressure, which is good against Zerg, especially a Zerg that's fast expanding like Ben's doing. Ben's trying to get this probe out of the base. A probe versus drone matchup, it's about even. It's not that difficult for the probe to win or for the drone to win. So it looks like Ben is throwing down a spawning pole. So Jake is seeing this. I'm not sure if he's scouted the natural yet. He knows that it's not going to be a rush. He's got his gateway out, which is perfectly fine. He's producing one zealot. He's going to be able to hold this ramp. So he's not afraid of this late spotting pole. If Jake hasn't seen the fast expansion yet, ladies and gentlemen, he has now. So he knows that Ben is pulling out a fast expansion. So what is Jake going to have up his sleeve? So Jake is one of the trickiest individuals that I have ever had the pleasure of playing against. He's able to, while his, I'm not going to harp on him, and Jake knows this, while his micro isn't the best, he makes up for it by his just trickiness. And we might be seeing something here, guys. This probe is going in the bottom left, and it's building a pylon in the bottom left corner of the base. You can see that Jake right now is building a forge in his main base, which means what's going to happen? What's going to happen right now? You tell me. You know what? I already know. You already know. He's going to cannon rush Ben over here on the side, which is a perfect angle to get in on this spawning pool right here. Now, I believe what's happening for Ben right now is he's building a creep colony. He doesn't want the zealots to come in here. The zealots are already in here, right here, doing a lot of work. Look at this micro. I know I said that Jake isn't a great, I'm not going to say not a great micro player, but he is really putting some pressure on Ben. Ben needs to micro his drones so they do not die to this one zealot. 2 Zerglings is not going to kill this guy. And I'm not sure. Let's see if Ben can see this. He does now see that cannons are coming up. And these Zerglings are going to die to this one cannon right here. This zealot is in the base doing so much damage. It's probably going to die to the second colony. This second colony is probably going to be able to hit any additional photon cannons that come in right here. So I think maybe the spawning pool is in jeopardy. But look at this. There goes, this drone is in very much trouble. Ben's going to pull all his units down to his natural. He still has a mining basis, which is really great. It doesn't mean that he's completely out of this game yet. But this zealot and this drone, or this probe, are locking this down. And I believe Jake is saving up for a natural of his own, which he is. He spent that $600 minerals to produce a natural of his own. He knows he has Ben on the back foot. So essentially Ben's just mining out of one base, guys. He's not even using this. He's a one base Zerg, essentially. He's got enough Zerglings to come in here and take out the Zealot and this probe. So this is the funny thing. I actually talked to Jake about this particular game. And at this moment, with the number of Zerglings that, this is about 12 Zerglings, the number of Zerglings that Ben has produced right here. He surrounds the probe, which is amazing, guys. But the probe gets away. The probe has the potential to build more photon cannons. But like I was saying, at this moment, Jake realized, and I talked to him about this, Jake realized that Ben wasn't actually a bad player because he built this many Zerglings right here. He thought at this point, he was like, oh God, Ben is actually a pretty decent player, and he can't just win off of this photon rush. He thought that this photon rush was going to take down Ben. He wanted to take down everyone in the first 4 minutes of the game, 5 minutes of the game, and get that gold medal. Now, guys, this is the JTI. This is for a cash prize of $60 if you win first place. No one wants to be second place, even though you do win $30. It's a pretty good big prize pool for second place. Third place wins $10. But everybody wants that big pot, that's $60. And that's what Ben is banking on right now. Ben's spawning pool, it's hurt, but it's not going down yet. It's at half health. He is building I believe this is a Hydralisk Den right here. There it is. Hydra Den out for Ben Terry. And it looks like Jake is building a few photons. Let's verify. Yeah, a few photon cannons are going down, and I think Jake is walling off these photons. This is a pretty good placement for these photon cannons. You can see that, excuse me, Jake doesn't have anything mining out of this base right now. So, you know, it's possible that he's essentially a one base Protoss. Look at this. Extractor from Ben. That means that Jake doesn't have any Dragoons, no High Templars, nothing outside of a Cybernetics Core, Gateway, and Boars. Those are the only buildings that you can build without gas. Now, Jake has built the gas down here, and he does have one probe mining from that gas spot. But you can see up here in the top, it's not enough to produce any Dragoons. He's got a Cybernetics Core, which means that he can produce Dragoons. It looks like Ben isn't really worrying about these photon cannons down right here, because it's not really a big deal. These photon cannons aren't attacking Ben, or his Hydralisk Den, or his spawning pool. It's essentially 500 resources, 150 here, which is 300, 100 for each of these pylons, which is, I think if my math's correct, you guys are the calculus wizards out there. I believe that's 500 minerals, which is a lot of investment from Jake early game. 2 Zealots realized that the Sunken Colony, 3 Sunken Colonies is definitely too much for 2 Zealots to handle. He might come down here and see if there is a second natural, but it looks like Ben has opted to move up here with his third, which is really, really good. Jake might think, hey, you know, down here, this is his natural expansion and naturally connects to his base. So if I can just hold off here, if a drone comes here, my Zealots will definitely be able to take care of that, no problem. Jake has another Zealot here on the ramp to see if any Zerglings try to come by, to see any Hydralisks come by. It looks like Jake now knows that there's a Hydralisk army coming out. Ben is upgrading to layer tech, which means Hydralisk, which means Mutalisks, which means Lurkers. Essentially, these Hydralisks can then turn into Lurkers, which can spell a little bit of trouble for the Protoss if he does not have detection. It's going to be very hard for Ben to actually break this right here. But maybe not too difficult. If he can produce enough Hydras, if he can get another macro hatch going, which a macro hatch is like a third or fourth hatchery, which isn't necessarily designed to produce, is to get minerals, but it's just solely there to produce units. That's what a macro hatch is. If Ben can get a few macro hatches going, then he can produce enough Hydralisks to actually bust down this door. There's only 3 Dragoons here, 3 cannons, and that's not a lot. That's not a lot, guys. Hydralisks do actually really good against Dragoons. They actually do really good against cannons too. And you know what? They do exceptionally well against probes, especially properly micro. These probes cannot reach those Hydralisks, and they really shouldn't. This probe, I don't know what he's doing. He might be scouting for additional bases, or he might be taking a base of his own. He has some minerals in his mouth. That's, what is that, 8 minerals wasted from Jake. But, you know, if he can get a sneaky base up here that Ben isn't able to see, that's going to be very, very lucrative for Jake. It looks like Ben has some drones here that need to get to work. That's a 300 mineral base. Do I hear? What is that? That's the noise of a delicious Corsair. trying to take down a Overlord. But it looks like the Hydralisk did take out that Corsair. I believe a Corsair is about 125 minerals, 100 gas. So it's a very, very expensive unit, especially since 2 base, not a lot of gas being produced. Ben has a few Hydralisks. He could definitely move out here and do some damage against Jake. Only 3 Dragoons. I'd say 5 Dragoons, 4 cannons. This definitely can't break it, but it can force Jake to maybe produce some units that he doesn't want to produce right now while he's worrying about his macro. And it looks like Ben is moving out. He does see a probe. That's a great scouting probe by Jake. That means that Jake knows that this is coming. And you can see that he's producing 4 Dragoons. He's also upgrading Dragoon armor or ground unit armor as well. Aspire is coming up for Ben. Aspire is primarily designed to get out Mutalisk. Ben wants to harass these probe lines here, but Jake does have some cannons. It's going to be kind of difficult. You can see a lurker coming out from Ben. First lurker of the game popping out for Ben, and I don't think Jake has any detection. He does have a robotics facility, but I don't see an observatory. The observatory is the thing that Protoss produce to get the observer. The observer is able to detect these lurker eggs. But these photons also are detectors. So if Ben does get close enough to these photon cannons, they will detect the lurkers. One lurker here. Let's see what this lurker could do. He's going to set up shop, set up position. He's like a Zerg siege tank. He's able to ward away certain units. And it looks like Jake is doing exactly what he needs to do. Cannon up. He doesn't have a lot of minerals because he's producing a base up here. There's pylons here to build photon cannons to defend this third expansion from Jake. It's so far up here, but the beauty about these hidden expansions is they're hidden. The Zerg can't find them. Ben has to go all the way up here, and there goes another very expensive unit from Jake. Ben must be feeling great about that. That's an expensive unit. 185 minerals, 100 gas. You don't want to waste that. It looks like Ben's base over here is producing. What has he got here? A macro hatchery, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Another macro hatchery down here. Ben is producing from 5 macro hatcheries, or from 5 hatcheries, not 5 macro hatcheries, but 5 hatcheries. That could be a very strong Hydralisk army, Hydrolurker army. And against this base, oh, this is going to be very hard for Ben to break, by the way, guys. Very, very difficult for Ben to break. But we'll see if he can do it. He's going to put lurkers up here on the front ramp, contain Jake into his base. Look at that. That lurker is hitting that pylon. I'm not sure why. I guess he was hitting this probe, not necessarily the pylon. But the pylon didn't take any damage either. But this is very good. He's trying to contain Jake. But what he doesn't know is that Jake built a natural expansion, or he built a third expansion up in the upper left corner, and he's building his second natural right here. There's the observer. The observatory is right here, which means that Jake can start building observers. This is going to spell trouble for Ben because these observers are able to see his lurkers. This means that Jake can't push out. We'll see if this is enough Dragoons versus Hydras. I think it will be. Hydralisks have a lot of health, but Hydralisks do a little bit more damage, I believe, than Dragoons do. So we're going to see if... Oh, it looks like what Ben did was he sniped that observer. So that means that Jake is going to have a very difficult time taking out this lurker. Actually, he won't be able to take out this lurker because he can't see the lurker. But the beautiful thing is, from Jake, he is so, like I said, guys, the dude is so sneaky. He's like a little weasel. He can get into any little nook and cranny. And he can find an expansion. If there's a mineral, if there's minerals in a certain area, Jake is going to find it. And he's going to build an expansion. Now, Ben needs to scout this out with an Overlord, a Zergling. 6 Zerglings can come up here and take this entire base out. And there's nothing that Jake would be able to do. I believe what's happening, and I did interview these guys after the game. I think that Ben right now thinks that Jake is being contained by these lurkers, by these Hydralisks. But that's not true. Jake has 4 bases, 2 3-base Zerg. And a Zerg never wants to be a base down from a Protoss. A Zerg always wants to be a base up. Now, this is definitely not enough Hydralisks to take out this Dragoon army. These Dragoons are upgraded, and these Hydralisks are not. So this is a very dangerous army that Jake has right now. Very dangerous. These Corsairs need to come over here and sniff out some Overlords. These Corsairs are primarily used to stall out these Hydralisks from pushing into your front base. Because the Zerg, if these Corsairs are attacking your Overlords, this means that Ben needs to push back. Oh no, look at this, guys. Look at this. Dragoons attacking these Lurker Eggs. The beautiful thing about Lurker Eggs is they have a lot of health. Not a lot of health, but a lot of armor. It's very difficult for these Dragoons to take them down. And it looks like these Dragoons are pushing this. With these Hydras, I'm not sure what they're doing. Ben needs to micro them backwards. He needs to push them back to this Lurker and defend this Lurker. This Lurker needs to get up and run back to the base. These Hydralisks are being mismanaged. This is a very big Dragoon army coming in with, I believe, what do we got here? We got 3 Corsairs. These Overlords need to be very careful. The Spire is up, which means that Ben can produce... he can produce... What am I trying to say? Scourge. There they go. This Overlord is getting crushed. Look at this. 113 supply Protoss army versus a 56 supply Zerg army. This is going to be extremely difficult for Ben to hold. He does have these 3 sunken colonies here, but he does have Zerglings coming in. He needs to spend these resources, pull down macro hatches, so he can get these Zerglings working. Zerglings do very, very good against Dragoons if they are upgraded to have speed, and I'm not sure that these Zerglings do have speed. He needs to pull back, defend his Overlords. You can see what's happening here. Jake already has 200 potential supply. Building, ladies and gentlemen, building Stargates, potential scouts, potential carriers. This could be very big. What is he building out of here? He's building scouts. Ladies and gentlemen, how many scouts is he building? 8 scouts. Scouts suck. They're terrible. They're one of the worst units in the game. Professionals don't use them. That's the thing. But this isn't a professional game. This is the JTI. Anyone can win. Scouts can win in this scenario. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that scouts are garbage, which they are, in a JTI scenario, scouts are pure gold, baby. Pure gold. So don't count them out. They can attack ground units, but they are very, very weak. Let's see what's going on here. What's going on? What's being produced here? Scouts. Scouts are being produced. We know what's being produced. Ben's having a very difficult time. I still don't think Ben knows about this base here, which is unguarded, or this base here, which is unguarded. Well, it's guarded, but with scouts. And like I said, guys, scouts are glass. I don't know, slingshots. They don't do a lot of damage to the ground. They're not very effective. They're super slow unless you get an upgrade, then they get a little bit faster. Let's watch this attack down here from Ben. He's going into Jake's main base, and he's got to be confused as to why so many Dragoons are being produced. You know, like, where's all the resources coming from? There goes an Overlord up here, taking Ben down to 54. That is going to supply cap Ben. Ben is being supply capped by these scouts, by these Corsairs. And I remember talking to Ben. He thought that he was going to win because he thought Jake was doing a desperation move with scouts. But he had no idea that these bases were up here. He had no idea. 2 photon cannons coming up. Kind of an awkward placement. These Hydralisks are going to definitely be able to take down these scouts, no problem. Scouts are just awful units, not able to take down ground units at all. But this is a very, very effective army for, you know what, sniping Overlords. Overlords are in fear of what's going on. 95 supply for Ben. He definitely needs to build more Overlords, and it looks like he is. These Overlords are going to get caught. Actually, no, it looks like the Overlords are, you know, they escaped. They stealthed by. There's the macro hatches for Ben, and it looks like Hydralisks are coming out. But these Overlords over here, they're not going to be as lucky as their friends that are making their way up to the north, unfortunately. Overlords being killed. Ben is... these Hydralisks need to start helping. There they go. They're going to help their friend Overlord over here, but I think it's a little bit too late. That Overlord's going to come back to these Hydralisks. Oh, it's not too late. This Overlord does survive. He is one of the lucky ones. These scouts are sitting over here. What is Jake making? He stopped producing scouts. He knew that scouts are a garbage unit. I don't think Ben knows about this base in the top left, and I don't think he knows about this second natural right here. Jake's fourth base. This is Jake's third base up here. This is his fourth base down here. We got a whole nother fleet moving out. It looks like Ben is finally building his fourth base up in the top right, which is going to be very crucial as he's going to be mined out very soon from his natural and from his main base. He's got to be concerned. Why does Jake have so many Dragoons? I know he was thinking this. He was saying, hey, I'm containing Jake. Why is he building so many Dragoons? He's got to be almost mined out, which is true. His main base is mined. These probes aren't doing anything. His natural's about to be mined. I think Ben thinks if he can hold on just a little bit longer, that he can win. Now, it looks like these Dragoons are probably going to go down. We got Hydralisks here. We got Hydralisks probably popping out up here. I think Jake is going to be, or Ben's going to be perfectly fine, but these scouts are being a nuisance. I think Scourge are going to pop out of this place right here. Let's watch. Let's see if the Scourge pop out. Yes, they do. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. But there are still three scouts pumping down this hatchery, and I think they're actually going to get it, which is very unfortunate because Jake is still on fourth base. Now, guys, remember, Jake is the veteran here. Jake is the person that everyone thinks is going to win the JTI. I mean, Jake versus Travis Invitational, that is just in the name. And it looks like this hatchery is going to go down from these scouts, and that is super unfortunate for Ben. He needs to, oh, look, some more scouts are coming in, but these Hydras are going to clean this up. And it looks like Ben actually found this base, and this base might go down. There's nothing that is actually defending it. Nothing at all. There's Dragoons down here, but if Ben can get on the high ground and just ward this off, the High Templar, the Templar Archive is going to go down. All this is going to just die, and this is a lot of resources that Jake doesn't want to lose. But look, he still has this, a fleet beacon's going down, guys. Carriers. That just means carriers. Another Cybernetic core going down. More carriers. A big, huge, giant Dragoon army is pressing out. And he's looking to take down the third. He's looking for redemption, revenge for his fourth base going down. He's already taken down this base up here. These Hydras need to start working. They need to start down and coming down and defending the natural. Or not the natural, but the third expansion for Ben. He has the high ground. He would be able to defend it. Let's see if he can actually defend it against all these Dragoons. I think he would be able to. He's producing Zerglings, which do, like I said, if the Zerglings can get in on these Dragoons, they do a lot of damage. It looks like Ben is sending in Overlords. Not sending them in for any reason, but these Scouts and these Corsairs are just harassing the hell out of him. Like I said, Jake is tricky. He's a tricky player. But I think Ben's going to have enough. He's got Hydralisks funneling down. He's got Hydralisks over here funneling this direction, taking down the Dragoons. I think he's going to be able to save this third base. But you can see that Ben is completely mined out at his natural. And his main base is getting mined out right now. And Jake is supply blocking him. That is so brutal for a Zerg to be supply blocked in this manner. You can see that he has to spend his resources on Overlords. Jake is, look how much minerals Jake has compared to Ben. Not a lot. And you know why? You know why that is? Carriers. Carriers have arrived. People. Expensive units. Protoss are very expensive units compared to Zerg. But Ben has a lot of resources that he can funnel into Overlord production. It looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing right now. These Dragoons, I'm not sure where they're exactly going. Maybe just verifying that Ben hasn't secured another expansion, which is very smart. Exactly what Jake needs to be doing. Those Dragoons are great at sniffing out expansions and taking them down. But you know what's even better? And you know, this is something that many people don't know. Just speed zealots. Zealots of speed. Excellent at taking down bases. Able to get in there and destroy. Ben is pushing back these Overlords and these Hydralisks back to his sunken colonies. I believe that Ben moved his drones around. They were sitting here not mining, but now they're... Look at this. So annoying. Jake is being so annoying to these Corsairs. He's being so effective. Let's see how many kills these Corsairs have. 6 kills. 7 kills. That's a ton of Overlords. And it looks like Ben is actually transitioning into Ultralisk. I'm not sure if this is exactly a good move. Ultralisk not the best units against Protoss, but if you compare that up, if you compare it up with Zerglings, that might be actually pretty good. It looks like we have some speed for the Ultralisk coming out, and we got some additional +2 coming out for the Zerg army. I don't think Ben has actually scouted this expansion up here. Jake is getting away with murder. Ladies and gentlemen, he has nothing here in his natural. He has no minerals here. This is Jake's only mining base, and it looks like Jake is trying to secure a base up here in the northern expansion, which he actually needs to do, because he is very, very low on minerals. Ben needs to start thinking about expanding himself. Look at all... Oh, what's happening here? Ben found the base. Ben has found... I believe he has found this northern base, and he is attacking. But Jake is going to defend and counterattack with carriers. Ben's army is completely gone from this area. This means these carriers are going to potentially do a ton of damage, but not before these Hydralisks get in this base and do a lot of damage. Ultralisks, tanky. Ultralisks don't do a lot of damage. They do as much damage as a Dragoon. But what they are great at is tanking damage for these Hydralisks. Look at these Ultralisks. This Hydralisk and Ultralisk army is going to take down this entire Dragoon army, but these carriers are going to take down this base for Jake. This is a back and forth, ladies and gentlemen. Ben is in Jake's base, taking down his third expansion. But at the same time, Jake is doing the exact same thing to Ben's third expansion. This is a back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, the ATM for these guys are pretty low right now. 49 for Jake and 58 for Ben. But look at this. They are trading blows. This is an equal game. But the thing is, if Ben can scout this northern base right here, it might be over for Jake. He has nothing in the way of producing anything for minerals. All he has is carriers. All he has is these carriers. If Ben can take down this northern base right here, it's over. Because Hydralisks do wonders against carriers. Hydralisks are able to take down carriers, no problem. 15 Scourge being produced from Ben, but I don't know if this is the play right now. I think he just needs to double down on Hydralisks. I think Scourge are very cheap. Mineral-wise, 25 minerals, 75 gas, I believe. And that's scary for a Hydralisk army. That's enough to take down one carrier. That's enough to take down one carrier. But this is a mistake right here. Ben is attacking into Jake's base. This is a mistake. He needs to take down this unguarded northern base. He's throwing away Hydralisks on this base right here. He can starve out Jake. But look at this. Ben is tricky, taking the expansion that Jake just lost. Jake has been mining here for a while, so there's not a lot of minerals left. Not a lot. He has Ultralisks here. He has Hydralisks here. Carrier army just doing a ton of damage. Did these Scourge hit yet? We have Scourge down here just sitting, waiting. We have, there go, wow. Everything from Jake is destroyed. He has a few Dragoons left. Very little minerals left. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben's game to lose, in my personal opinion. 6 Zerglings could take out this base up here. Let's see what happens. Ben needs to expand a little bit more. I think he has the minerals to expand up here, and into his second natural down here. This is a risky base to take because it is so close to Jake. Jake's natural is a little bit further away, so I think Ben's second natural, oh man, he is funneling his units in here. This unit's right here, if he took this out right here, it would be game over. But he has no resources. If he could just take this down. This probe is being a little bit tricky too. I know he wants to plop down another Nexus up here. That is Jake. Another carrier going down. Beautiful. One carrier left for Jacques Cousteau. And man, Ben is doing so well right now. He's building Hydralisks, which is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to scout a little bit. He needs to send an Overlord over here. Look at this. Right, but Jake is so tricky, man. He's persistent with these bases. He knows that he needs to expand. Look at this. These Zerglings are going to take this down, no problem. That should indicate to Ben that he needs to put a Zergling up here. One Zergling up here. One Zergling down here. Just to make sure that Jake isn't expanding to these other locations, but he's getting away with murder. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so much resources. for Jake. He doesn't have a Vespian Geyser, but this is a ton of resources that Ben could stop with just a few Zerglings. And it looks like this is going to be taken down as well. You know what would be very great for Ben right now? A Nidus network connecting this base to this base. This is where all the hatcheries are. This is where all the lings are being produced. One Nidus network right here and right here, not a problem. This base would be totally salvaged. But it looks like Ben has no functioning bases and is now officially himself out of resources. So he needs to be very, very cautious at this time. He doesn't have any money coming in. Oh, there's a scout. Ben was able to find this expansion. I think he found this expansion, but I think what happened was this Dragoon and this Zealot army was able to clean up. Here's the epic battle, ladies and gents. This is the epic battle that's unfolding right now. Who is going to win? Probe versus drone. We got Doug the drone versus Larry the probe. It looks like Doug is in the lead, and Doug does take down Larry. Unfortunately, it might have been this little sack that he was carrying. The mother's instinct. It gives the mother 3 times the ability, to lift, to protect. And since he has a little egg here, since the drone has a little egg, he had that mother's instinct. Was able to take it down. This Dragoon Zealot army isn't going to be able to take down these Hydras unless these Hydras aren't paying attention. I think they can focus that down and take it out. Okay, some bases are going down. Here's another... Oh, look at this. Jake knows this is happening. Jake is so clever with these probes. Putting him in positions that he knows are going to be very difficult for Ben to defend. One carrier right here. Not, carriers are scary, but look at this. There's only about 5 interceptors in here. Taking down a useless Queen's Nest. Who cares about the Queen's Nest? We already got a hive. It's already done its job. The Zerg is already teched a hive. You can take down the Queen's Nest. I can tank that damage, no problem. What's going on here? I don't know if Ben has a lot to actually defend this. This hatch is going to come up. But this hatch is probably going to be nothing in comparison to what this northern base is doing for Jake. Jake is even over... Oh, here's the Zerg. Ben officially knows. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben officially knows that this base is going down. And this is going to be enough probes. Jake has access... Just so many probes that he can throw in at this. No problem. The probes are going to be able to take this down. This carrier is going to be able to take down these Zerglings. But Ben officially knows that this... Look at these Scourge. They want to kill something, and they're gonna get that kill. They're gonna get this kill here. Come on, boys. There you go. The Scourge need to come up here and finish this off. He needs some Hydralisks up here, but Ben doesn't have enough gas and minerals to actually take this down. To produce enough Hydralisks to take this down. He could send Scourge up here to take this... this carrier has no health. This Nexus is going to go down regardless. That means Jake has 1 working base. Ben has 1 working base. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a back and forth game. This is such an insane game. And Ben needs to move these out. These are such expensive units for the Zerg, especially at this point in the game where everything matters. 200 minerals, 200 gas. That is exactly what an Ultralisk costs. And Ben just needs to get... See, look at that. He's already... Another drone down. He needs to get all his units out from over here, because every single one of these units at this point of the game matters. Scourge sniffing it out, seeking to destroy this carrier. They're going to hit their mark. There only needs to be 1 Scourge that hits this carrier. Boom, boom. 2 Scourge, take it down. This is such an intense game. Look at this. Sunken colonies. This is going to be very difficult for Jake to actually attack into. Sunken colonies on the high ramp is so difficult for Dragoons, especially to get up here and do damage. If you're doing damage down here on the low ground, you have a 50% miss window. So, sunken colonies are shooting down, hitting 100% of the time, but Dragoons are hitting up, missing about 50% of the time. That is saying, if Jake can produce some more carriers, which he's not doing, I don't think he has the capabilities of doing, but this is such a back and forth game. This base right here is doing wonders for Jake. Another glorious base. Another base. He is so persistent. Jake is so persistent with his bases, his expansions. And that's exactly what he needs to do. Ben is worrying about creating an army, which, honestly, he doesn't really have a big one. He has 2 Ultralisks, one here, one down here, and a Zergling. It's not going to be enough to take down this army. Zealots are tanky. Dragoons do a lot of damage. 20 damage apiece from 6 Dragoons. That's a lot. He's producing Zerglings, which is pretty... It'll ward this off. He needs to get this Ultralisk and Hydra working for him. Man, this is such a tough and interesting game. If he can saturate this base with drones, and he can get drones working here, he'll be able to do some pretty good damage, I think. And Zerglings alone would be pretty good against this army. There's that Ultralisk, and there's that Hydralisk. He needs to get these guys over here assisting. Oh, man, there goes that Hydra. Okay. Zerglings coming in here, taking down the Dragoon army. I think this is going to be enough. Like I said, the Ultralisks don't do a lot of damage, but what they do specifically is tank for the Zerglings. The Zerglings are the ones that are actually doing the damage, not the Ultralisks. The Ultralisks are just absorbing shots, so the Zerglings can get in there and do the damage. Look at Jake. I mean, he's got this base back up, but it's not up and running. It's up, not running. All right, 2 probes going down, more probes being delivered here. Full probes going down. This is going to be the difference maker from this game, is Jake is able to get these bases and hold on to them. Ben has been just a hair away from winning. It's been back and forth. At some points, Ben is in the lead because he's able to find the bases and kill them. But then Jake takes the lead again because he's able to produce these bases. He's got more bases mining than Ben does. And Jake knows that this is happening up here. He knows that this is going. But the thing is, Jake doesn't have a big army. The army for Jake is very, very small. Just a few Dragoons and a few Zealots. But likewise, Ben doesn't have a very big army. What's Ben building over here? Ooh, a Defiler Mound. That's what you need. Ultralisks, Zerglings. Their worth is so much more amplified. Look at this. Dragoons. Look at the micro from Jake. Dragoons are just so nasty. If you can micro them against Zerglings, what Ben needs to do is run them past the Dragoons and then attack. I'm not sure what he's doing right here. He's lost 3 Zerglings, and at this point, these Zerglings are worth their weight in gold. If they can come up here and attack these bases, there's not a lot he can do, but Jake is trying to ward them off. Jake is trying... This isn't the base that Ben needs to attack. He needs to attack this north and southern base. He's not going to do a lot of damage here. He needs more bases. Jake has 3 potential working bases. He has 1 up here, 1 down here. This one's not running yet, so it's just essentially what I like to say, a 400 mineral dump. Just a garbage. Nothing's happening right here. If Jake can get this working, then it starts getting some value. Ben is building 3 Defilers, and Defilers are amazing. Defilers are what a Zerg wants in the late game because of one particular spell, and it's the best spell in the game. It's called Dark Swarm. Couple that with Consume, which is another Defiler ability. You're able to consume and get energy under your Defiler just to spread Dark Swarm all across the map. And I think Dark Swarm lasts a really long time. It might almost last, I don't know, I want to say almost 1.5 minutes. Could even last almost 2 minutes. And if you're under the Dark Swarm, what that does is prevent you from getting attacked from range units. What's a range unit? A Dragoon. Carriers. Things in the air. Air can't shoot down and hit anything under Dark Swarm. Dragoons don't do well under Dark... Oh my god. This is enough Dragoons right here alone to take down this base. To come up here and do so much damage. I don't know. Ben is... he's on the back foot. He's building Zerglings. He's building Ultralisks. But, this might not be enough for Jake to defend against. We'll see. There's no observers, so these lurkers might be the ticket to ward these Dragoons off, and they exactly are. Ben is building another base down here. Very difficult to defend. Jake can come right around here, come up here. He can come right around here, come up here. He's got Dragoons in the air. Ben is coming in here with these lurkers, trying to ward even faster. Oh, 1 lurker going down, ladies and gents. Devastating. Jake could move this observer down here and get detection. He's not microing these guys very well. The Dragoon's AI knows that something's going on, and Jake is going to move these guys backwards. It looks like this base, this mining base right here, is up for Ben. Not sure how much it's going to do. If you can put some sunken colonies right here, it's going to be very difficult for Jake to get up. Not super difficult. Jake doesn't have a lot of units. If Ben could just sit a few sunkens right here and then start mining, I think that's going to do very, very well against... Oh, there's that observer. Oh, no. Different observer, but an observer nonetheless. Jake's going to move back. I don't think... Look at this micro. Delicious micro from Jake. Ben's got to move these Zerglings back. Oh, man, he can't be losing Zerglings like that. He can't be losing Lurkers like that either. This is a very expensive unit. Is he going to lose this one too? Yeah, he definitely is. Defilers right here. I'm not sure if Dark Swarm has been upgraded. Maybe you guys could have saw up here in the top left. This is a very long game, guys. We're already about, I don't know, about 44 minutes in, possibly. These Zerglings are probably going to be able to clean up these Dragoons. I don't think there's going to be enough micro from Jake. Maybe there is. It's so annoying. Dragoons versus Zerglings. You know, if you can get those micro in every single Dragoon matters. Every single Zergling matters. So, if you can take these guys down, it's gonna be very good. A clump of Zerglings sitting here could take down this base, could take down this base, but I don't know if Ben has actually scouted those bases, guys. That's the thing. Jake has been very good about scouting bases. You know, if Ben can get this base up and going. Oh, observer. That's gonna be disheartening. Jake can move these guys right down here and take down this base. And this base up here, the only mining base for Ben, is getting mined out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a long game. This is, like I said, this base is getting attacked, but at the same time, this base is getting attacked. Now, this is the thing. Between these two characters, between these two players, it's been back and forth between them. Jake will take down one of Ben's bases, but Ben will in turn take down one of Jake's bases. It is back and forth. It's been an insane game, an insane matchup. These Defilers not doing anything. They're going to get under their own Dark Swarm, and this is going to be pretty good. You know, he could have probably spread this Dark Swarm out a little bit. I'm not sure if he actually has the consume ability. But these Zerglings are going to do a lot of damage if they can get under this Dark Swarm and take down these Dragoons, because these Dragoons do nothing to Dark Swarm. I think this army right here is going to go down. You can see that Ben's actually taking down this base from Jake, and is actually taking down this base from Jake. If he can take down this base, that's the last mining base from Jake. Carriers are coming in, but carriers do nothing under Dark Swarm. He's trying to micro, but I think these Zerglings are going to pincer these Dragoons into this wall right here and going to be taken down. I don't think that's enough micro in the world that's going to be able to save Jake in this scenario. Man, guys, this is such an intense game. This is only game one of the JTI. Guys, this is game one of the JTI. These Zerglings need to come back, and I don't know. They need to do something. But man, this has been such a back and forth, monumental matchup between these two players. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Maybe a few Hydralisks, but there's not enough gas from Ben. Nothing's been... let's see if there's gas in here. There is definitely a lot of gas, but there's no drones mining. Oh my gosh, this is tough. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if it's over for Ben. These Zerglings are going to come in here. Might be the last hurrah from these Zerglings. They are probably going to get down these photon cannons, maybe? They are. And they could take down this base, but I think there's enough probes here. Definitely enough zealots coming in here that are going to be able to take down this very, very low saturated base. And, you know, this might be Coitons for our Zerg player. He doesn't have a lot of resources, not a lot of gas, not a lot to defend against, you know, these carriers. So, I mean, this was an extremely tough game, and I think the only reason Ben lost this game is because he wasn't scouting, you know, bases. Wasn't able to scout out which bases actually had Nexi in them. Jake was able to get this base up here, and that base was working for him for such a long time. This base over here was working for him for such a long time. And Zealots, like I said, guys, Zealots are enough Because Jake doesn't... Zealots are enough, and they work under Dark Swarm too. Because they're not ranged units, these guys work under Dark Swarm, and I think this is going to be enough to actually probably get Ben to GG out of this game. He's transferring drones down here, but I'm not sure if Ben is going to have enough to ward this off. This is a very annoying combination. You got Zealots who are actually doing the bulk of the damage, and you got carriers that are just being an annoyance. Scourge not going to take that. Scourge wanted to. God, man, this has been such a crazy game. If this is the first game of the JTI, imagine what the other games are going to be like. Now, these two are very strong competitors in the JTI. Jake, the JTI is named after this guy. The Jake and Travis Invitationals. Me being Travis, Jake being a competitor. You know, maybe the main competitor. A Mutalisk being produced, but I don't think that Mutalisk is going to do much damage at all. These carriers are going to come over here, take down this base. Pro's being transferred to this base up here. Zergling's taking down this base over here. Oh my gosh, it's been such a back and forth, but I'm not sure if there's anything that Ben can do at this point. He's very mineral starved. This base has been completely mined out. This Mutalisk isn't going to do a lot. Maybe take down these Zealots, stop these Zealots from doing stuff. But we have so many Zealots just funneling in here. This Mutalisk isn't going to stop this carrier army. This Hydralisk isn't going to stop this carrier army. Man, I think these are maybe Spore Colonies coming down. Yeah, Spore Colonies aren't going to do much either. It's going to be very, very difficult for Ben to come back in this. I think Jake has this. Like I said, guys, Zealots are excellent base killers. If you see a base, send 12 Zealots in there. That's 1,200 resources. That's nothing. That's a drop in the hat. And I think this is GG. I don't know if Ben can do anything to defeat Jake at this point. So, that being said, I think a GG is going to be called from Ben. He was definitely a strong competitor against the person that is supposed to take this. Hands down. I don't think Jake saw this coming. What a delicious game. What a beautiful game this was. That these two players went head to head. And you're seeing history in the making, ladies and gentlemen. History in the making between these two players. This is definitely going to be a matchup that lives in infamy. It was back and forth the entire game. An insane matchup. But I think the GG is going to be called. Ben doesn't have enough to produce any drones. There's a few drones going this way. I'm not sure why they're transferring in this direction. Maybe he's just scouting to see what Jake exactly has. To see if Jake has any bases. To see how this is going to play out. But Ben's got to know that it's practically over. You know, he's got to know. He's just scouting around to see what exactly is happening. He's going to see that Jake has a base up here. You know, it was such a beautiful game. This is a game, the first game of the JTI, maybe even the best game of the JTI. And maybe these players are going to see each other again. Ben isn't out. Ben is going to go to the losers bracket where he can work his way back to the top and play Jake again in a best of 3. And we're going to see if that exactly happens here. I think it's over for Ben. He doesn't have a lot. He has these Zerglings here. Maybe he's scouting out to see what exactly Jake has, to see how close the game was. And ladies and gentlemen, it was close. There's the GG from Ben. It is over at 49 minutes. What a freaking game. What a crazy game from these two players. Like I said, this is just the first game. We have more games to come, and I'm going to cast more games for you guys. Every single game is going to be cast into the JTI. You guys know what happened if you were there and if you were watching, but you people at home haven't seen it, so you have no idea what's coming down the pipeline. My voice is shot. We're going to have more games for you. Thanks for tuning in, and check out the other games that are coming down the pipeline. Ben is going to go to the losers bracket. Jake is to continue on to the winners bracket where he's going to fight, I believe, the winner of the next game. So we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.